our favorite football team, when we think they're starting to turn it around, we hear such indicting things. We need them to coach us harder. Shane Waldron's too nice a guy, says Keenan Allen. Like all of this nonsense. I don't know how it gets fixed. I don't. Until that guy, the head coach, if he allowed what Keenan Allen said yesterday, yeah, Shane Waldron's just too nice a guy. He lets stuff go, professionalism. And the head coach is standing there. You and I were there. He stands back in the backfield, and he's pointing out stuff, and he covers everything, offense, defense. If he saw that and did nothing about it till week 9, week 10, what the hell, man? What is going on? And I would really like to know, and I know they interviewed him before they ever hired the GM. That's like the dirty secret. Mm-hmm. But the Bears interviewed Eberflus before they hired Poles.
Correct.
They didn't hire him, but they strongly encouraged that.
Mm-hmm.
And they all have the same agent, this incestuous relationship. Like, what could Eberflus, you guys all, and gals, all hear him every week with us. Mm-hmm. You see him at the podiums. He's horrible at it. It's just a fact.
Right.
He may be a brilliant strategist, a great husband, a wonderful father. But what could he have possibly said in an interview that lucid, intelligent people go, yeah, that's the guy. Dan Quinn with his backwards hat. Players just worship him. They said he's a maniac, but they love him. They love playing for him. Oh, and Washington 7-2. And guess what? Our guy walked into that building, and they went, that's the guy.
Love the brother next to you.
I mean, it really just blows me away.
Let's go, man.
Well, here's the thing, Cap. When it comes to Matt Eberflus, leadership can be hard. As you well know, for any coach, leadership can be hard. There's so many moving parts. It's an organization where you're just making sure that everyone's on the same page. You have to communicate that. But you got to stand for something. It's got to be more than the hits principle. You have to stand for something. And with Matt Eberflus as the head coach, I don't know what he stands for. I know that, hey, he wants everyone to get along and all that kind of thing, Cap. But here's the thing. When you're the head coach, there has to be a way of playing and a way that you handle your business inside the building.
Yeah, and there's got to be a standard of, I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm not.
I guess the way he says that is, well, there's certain coaches we just can't have, so we have to let them go. That's not leadership, though.
Let me ask you a question.
And I'll tell you why it's not leadership. It's not leadership because you got people over here that says that Shane Waldron was so soft. We got other players that said, well, this is the way he was in Seattle. It just didn't work for this locker room. There's always going to be a blend of different personalities. But the one personality that must prevail in that building is the head coach. Not the general manager, not even the president of football operations, not even the owner. It's got to be the head coach because he's in there busting his ass, making sure that you have a culture that's set, that everyone's on the same page and everyone's working hard.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Like if Shea showed up here every day, unprepared, late, walked in at 6:59, whoever his manager is, that would be the Jayhawk, should say, not going to be tolerated. You're put on blast, and if it happens again, you're gone. Well, that's it would be unprofessional. But Shea and Jay Moore, they're in here way before we are, getting everything set. Everything's rolling. Maybe that's why the show does so well.
Yep.
But up there, they're talking about unprofessionalism, letting things slide. Seriously?
Giving players nicknames is not leadership. It's just not, Cap. It's just not.
Right.
But see, on top of that, if you're that guy that's just kind of just like flighty and you're giving everyone nicknames and you're playing grab ass, that's fine. I could excuse that. But when you lose on top of it,
correct.
When you lose on top of it, because the resume is what it is. It's a horrible resume. You could be a player's coach. You can let things slide. But if you are going to do that, you must win on top of that. But losing and then having this kind of loose ship that they have up there, that's the slippery slope right there that I'm talking about. That's why they're 4-5.
But you can be a player's coach and hold people accountable. I truly believe great players crave discipline.
Didn't players tell you that before the season?
They do.
No, I'm asking you. Didn't players tell you that Eberflus holds guys accountable?
That's what they told me.
Okay.
But we're not seeing it. At least he's not holding his staff accountable.
Well,
And now you fire the guy?
players told you that he holds players accountable,
Correct.
like a substitute teacher.
Maybe.
Well, clearly. Have you seen the ball club, Cap?
Right. And how do you allow an offensive coordinator to not coach him hard? We heard it from multiple guys. We went in and told him, you got to coach us harder. Either you have that alpha gene, and it gets you in trouble. You know I've gotten myself in trouble more than once by saying something that pissed off somebody in wherever. Whatever.
Yeah.
I do it because I want us to be the best at whatever it is we do. Sorry, Coach, your cell phone's as bad as your offense. Was I lying?
Yeah, we're not.
I was telling the truth. Mm-hmm. When you said he's not calling back, that'll be all for Matty. Were you lying?
I was not. He did not call back.
Correct.
Yeah. And the Bears also did not find him a phone. And by the way, there are landlines up there, landlines, so he could have been able to call back. I think other coaches,
how about a Zoom?
They would have found a way.
Yeah, put him on a computer line, whatever it is.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine, Cap. All I know is that Eberflus lacks leadership. Besides the one-loss record, the numbers say what they say. It tells you all you need to know. The number one thing as a head coach is leadership, and we're not seeing it. And this is not absolving the players at all, too, by the way, because, again, if we're talking almost all summer about how this roster's set and this roster should be able to be a playoff team, it's on them, too. However, we're just talking about the head coach right now because it's the same head coach that I didn't think that should have been here for year 3, but he's here, and now you see what the results are. And so it just feels like you have to restart the franchise again when you fire the coach after 3 years, if that's what's going to happen. You already got rid of the offensive coordinator, so now that puts Coach Brown in an odd spot because now he has to be able to try to fix this thing because the spotlight will be on him like it's his fault.
I thought he was great at the podium yesterday. I really did.
But now it puts him in an odd spot, though. Now it's like he's got to be able to fight for his supper, too.
Well, I also heard Caleb say, I didn't have that much interaction with Coach Thomas Brown. Now he will. Well, hold on a second. Aren't you the passing game coordinator? Isn't that his title before yesterday?
Yeah.
Well, if I'm the quarterback and you're the pass game coordinator, how are we not conversing every freaking day?
That sounds like Brown telling Waldron, this is what I learned about Caleb. Now you tell him because you're the offensive coordinator. I'm sure
Waldron saying, I'll handle that.
Probably. That's probably how the pecking order was. And by the way, that's fine. In our business, there are executive producers and associate producers.
Yeah. There's
a difference between the two where you're like, wait, he's part of the show too. Yeah, but he's really locked in on a different area of the show.
Correct.
Same thing here with the offensive coordinator and the offensive staff that they have.
But Theo Epstein had told me many times in interviews, and I've talked to him off the record about it, or off air about it. He said every successful business should have a boiler room mentality. Anybody on the team, I'm talking about the players, I'm talking about the people in the company, should be able to walk up to the CEO and go, hey, why are we doing it this way? I think that's foolish. Here's my suggestion. Doesn't mean I'm going to act on it or use it, but you have the ability to walk in. He said, we could have a summer intern at Wrigley when he was there, and they could walk. Hey, Theo, I see we're doing this way. Just a thought, I think you should do it that way. Mm-hmm. And he said, hey, it's a pretty good idea. Because he said if you don't, and you go, well, the associate producer is going to tell Shay, and then Shay's going to tell Danny. He said, all of a sudden, you start going up levels, and everyone's like, well, it was my idea. No, it was my idea. He goes, everyone's fighting for credit. We're on the same team. All of us.
Yep.
Well, I don't know what Eberflus, I cannot imagine what he could have said that people charged with paying him $25 million to coach their lousy football team. That's the guy. Mm-hmm. Seriously? That's the guy. Mm-hmm. You called it the day they announced it. I was more concerned after I heard him at the podium with the, I almost said it, hits principle.
Yeah.
I almost added an S.
Yes.
It's, dude, these acronyms are stupid. You want to keep them internal because you don't live the hits principle. You see everybody hustling? I don't.
Yeah.
You see intensity? I don't. Playing smart football? I don't.
And if you are going against the hits principle, you know what happens? You are going to sit for almost a quarter of football, Tyreek Stevenson. Almost a quarter of football.
Or you're going to get called out in the media and embarrassed.
Yeah, but the ramifications from the head coach is not to be benched for a half or for a game. You just sit for a little bit with the headset.
But even if you don't, it's pro sports. We need them. We've got Briskers out. You want to play them? Guess what? When you're on your radio show and the question is asked by both of us, Coach, how do you handle it? He's already apologized. No, he went on Twitter. That's not apologizing. How about driving the bus over him? What would Ozzie Guillen have done? What would Mike Ditka have done? What would Joel Quenneville have done? What would Phil Jackson have done? What would Joe Madden have done? They'd have driven the bus right over him and backed it up and driven it again.
Yeah.
And then said, okay, did I make my point? That better never happen again.
You didn't get that from Eberflus. And again, it would be excusable if you were a winning coach because obviously your formula would be working.
Correct.
But obviously you're not a winning coach and the formula is not working.
You're giving us ammo every day that you don't know what you're doing.
Yep. No surprise this veteran observer, Cap.
Bad. Just bad. It's really sad.
My only thing I was telling you before the season was I hope that it gets better. After 2 years of not having a lot of talent, that whatever his issues are as a head coach, that it'd get better in year 3. Has it gotten better in year 3, Cap?
It is not.
Okay. 312-332.
Arguably worse.